Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to be sharing with you guys a key insight that I received and that I've been working with for the past year, and I feel like this is a very important component to self-development that a lot of people should know and understand. When I was younger, I was somebody that dreaded those extensive periods of solitude, and it wasn't because that I didn't like being alone. I love my alone time. It was more so because I felt like I was falling behind or missing out. And as I've gotten older, I've learned that solitude isn't punishment. It is your period to thrive. I recently had a birthday and I turned 31, and I thought it would be a good idea to come on here and reflect on my year 30, okay? Because that was a very interesting year. And not only that solar return, I was a Capricorn moon, and that is what I'm centering this video around, because I gained some key wisdom with being a solar return Capricorn moon. This was one of the biggest things because Capricorn is a sign that represents solitude, very hermit-like, even though that's represented by Virgo, and ironically I am a Virgo. Last year was definitely a hermit period for me, where there wasn't too much going on socially for me. But what I will say, there was a whole lot going on when it came to my business. Those moments of solitude in your life are the perfect time for that. And it may not feel like it, especially for people who are social butterflies. And I wouldn't say that I'm a social butterfly. I'm like an ambivert, like I'm like in the middle. This period was definitely a stark difference for me as opposed to the year before last year. I was social, I was outside. But during this last year, it was very quiet for me. And during this time of solitude for me, I really took the time to really get myself together, do a lot of self-reflection, get a lot of rest. These things are very important when it comes to self-development. I think a lot of people tend to avoid this period because it's like, we live in such a social world, especially a world that is so hell-bent on social media, and like, you know, if you're not doing anything, then it's like, what are you doing kind of thing. Solitude is an amazing thing. It allows you to get grounded. It allows you to hear yourself. And that is something that I had a lot of time to do. Ground down, hear myself, and get focused, okay? Solitude is your time to get focused, okay? Because when we're out in the world socializing, it could be good, but then it comes a point in time where it's not so good because you start getting distracted. You start getting pulled in all different ways, and then you kind of lose your focus, and you kind of can stray off path of your purpose. Solitude for me, it allowed me to get back in alignment with myself and really get clear on what it is that I'm doing next, how I'm gonna build it. Pretty much it just had me focusing on myself. And not only was I a Capricorn moon, I was a Capricorn moon in the 7th house of my solar return chart. So the 7th house has to do with your relationship. So I really wasn't messing with nobody like that, honestly. And it's a good thing because this was a period where I just went through the deepest cleansing when it came to relationships in my life. You know, I met a lot of people over the past couple years with a lot of the changes that have gone on with me personally and just cosmically. You know, it prompted me to do like a clean out during this period of a lot of people that I just am not in alignment with, and they're not in alignment with my vision for myself. That was one thing I did in my time of solitude, was definitely take the time to really assess the people around me. It was imperative that I was alone. And a lot of people will mistake those periods of solitude as you're failing, right? We live in a world where social media is such a big deal. There's this idea that you have to be doing something all the time out in the world, especially if you're somebody that has a business as well. A lot of people mistake this period as a time as like their flop era, right? Like they're just falling behind and that they don't got anything going on. So, you know, they're kind of not popping like that. And that's fine. You know, we all need those periods where we go into our own personal winter arc. We need to take time to regroup, get our mind right, ground ourselves, come back to self. You know, because how else are you going to be on top of your goals and just know what it is that you want to do and be in alignment with yourself if you're just constantly in people's face all the time? You're constantly worrying about what's going on social media all the time. You know what I'm saying? So during the time of solitude for me, I took the time to get very structured in my business. For those of you who are on my last live stream, I was saying if it wasn't for this time of solitude, I wouldn't have rebranded. You know what I'm saying? And that took me having to step away from the social scene for a little bit and get clear on like my purpose, how I want to move forward in this next chapter, and how I'm going to structure things. When you're in that period of solitude, it is the time for you to get structured. Okay, it's a time for you to get disciplined. I had the biggest creative boost during this period, and I just took that creativity and I structured it. You know, I was very consistent with my content. I built a whole new website. I rebranded. I did so much during this period. That's why I was saying in the beginning, your period of solitude is not a punishment from God. It's actually God's way of helping you thrive. It's God's way of helping you progress forward and get ahead. Okay? Because while everybody else is too busy getting distracted, you're getting a head start. You know what I'm saying? You're getting ahead because you're focused. You know, you're not worried about what this person is doing, that person is doing. You're not worried about this thing, that thing. You're focused on your progress. You're focused on what you're building. There were times during this period I felt pretty lonely and I felt very isolated at one point, but me being the master alchemist that I am, I just took those feelings and I just put it into my work. I just put my nose down into my work, and that is what kept me going during this time. When you're in the period of solitude, this is the perfect time to do a mixture of the things that you're supposed to do and the things that you love to do. So whether you like to draw, paint, read, whatever the case may be, this is your time to reconnect with yourself and establish that deep connection and relationship with self. This will allow you to become solid within yourself. When you're somebody that you're constantly around others all the time, you tend to get fractured in pieces. You know what I'm saying? You tend to stray away from your truth. So during those periods of solitude, it is your time to come back to self and remember what you came here to do. Remember yourself. You know, it is your time to really pour into yourself. So for me, how I did this was I just poured into my work. You know, I would just do other things. Like, I'm somebody, I like to watch movies. I found myself watching Indian movies. I love Indian movies. Like, those are my favorite movies. I would watch a lot of documentaries and things of that nature. That is my thing. So if it wasn't that I was doing that, I'm just grinding at my work. Like, full force grinding at my work. During these periods in your life, the silence can feel like so much pressure. Like, oh my gosh, it'll just make you feel like, what am I doing with my life? Oh my goodness, I need to do this, I need to do that. You know, I should be doing this, I should be at this point in my life. And it's like, don't get caught up in the negativity. I will say, those periods of solitude can get you because you hear your thoughts, you know, and you hear all of your thoughts, even the negative ones. And sometimes we can lean towards the negative ones. Those are the loudest during these times. You know, a lot of people, they have a hard time being alone. They have a hard time sitting with their own thoughts. It makes them very uncomfortable. And to be honest, I feel like if you have a hard time sitting with yourself, then that says a lot about you as a person. Like, you have like a guilty conscience. For me, it just helped me understand a lot of my psychology. It was actually very healing for me too, you know, this alone time, because it allowed me to understand a lot of where I came from and a lot of the experiences that I was having the past couple years, and just where I'm going next, you know what I'm saying, and how I want to change going into the new chapter that I've been opening myself up to. I found towards the end of this cycle in my life that, looking back at it, while it wasn't my favorite thing, I realized, like, yo, I got so much done. Like, if I was out socializing, going out every day, because literally that was my life at one point, like the year before last year, I was out all the time. And even though I was working, I was socializing more. I didn't have that much clarity and groundedness within myself. Looking back, I was like, yo, I got so much done. I got so much done, and I'm proud of myself. And I'm proud of myself mostly because it's like I utilized this time wisely. Whenever you're in those periods of solitude, God is giving you an opportunity to course correct and make things right. God is giving you a period to get ahead. It doesn't matter how it may feel on the surface, like you're missing out on something or you're falling behind. You're not behind, you're actually ahead. You're ahead of a lot of people, because when you finally get back out in the world, people are gonna see you like, damn, how did you do all of this? You're gonna make those people feel like, damn, like I'm not even on top of my shit. Exactly, because why? You were focused. My solar return being a Capricorn moon, it really taught me that. It taught me that solitude is my time to grow and to make progress within myself in the things that I'm building for myself, because it requires you to have a lot of discipline and focus, okay? Tunnel vision. It just gives you that clarity because you are in peace and quiet, okay? You don't have distractions. You don't have this person's opinion, that person's opinion. You're not worried about social media. You're not worried about anything external. And that's another thing with solitude. It really has you internally validate yourself. You're not looking for that external validation. Internal growth is more important than external validation. And you learn that during these periods of solitude, that when you are somebody that has a deep connection, a solid connection with yourself, that is all that matters. And not only that, a deep connection with God. And that right there is another thing. During periods of solitude, this is your time to have a stronger relationship with God, okay? This is a time for you to have one-on-one quality time with God. Looking back on my periods of solitude in the past and even now, it makes me appreciate it, because I love to have those one-on-one moments with God and my ancestors, because it just helps me deepen my spirituality and my faith. Okay. And honestly, that is the only external validation that I care about, is the one with the Most High and my good ancestors. That is the only thing that matters. Your inner growth is more important than external validation. Progressing within yourself, healing, becoming more confident, stronger, especially in those moments where you're not seen, especially in those moments where you feel like you're not really making progress. Those are the moments that really build you up internally and make you internally strong and confident. Excuse the lighting, it's getting a little late right now, and right now it's sunset hour. It's actually my favorite hour of the day, so the lighting is going to be a little weird. But anyways, embrace these times because God is doing you a favor, okay? God is giving you time to refine yourself. During this time, it's so easy to fall into this belief that God is ignoring you and overlooking you. And no, God is not overlooking you. God is giving you time to refine yourself and tune in to your natural rhythms, okay? God is also giving you time to have clarity, to get very, very clear on what it is that you want and what it is that you need to do. This is a time to be on top of your shit, okay? This is a time to really get all the things that you need to get done that you would have otherwise have gotten done if you were out in the world networking and doing this and doing that and going here and going there. This is the time to get organized and get structured in your life. Trust me, you guys. There was at some point during this period where I felt like God was overlooking me too, and I was crashing out on God. Literally, I was crashing out on God, and I was like, yo, what is going on? Like, God, what is going on? Where it's like, okay, like I'm ready to come out of solitude now. Things work on God's time and not your time, okay? So when God is ready to open up that door for you, it'll open up that door for you. And then you could get back out in the world and do your thing. Do not rush this period. It's easy to want to rush through this period because it's like, okay, I don't want to be in this alone time anymore because it's too quiet, it's too boring. And yes, it is very boring. It is. It can be. This is why it's important to be productive during this time. So you won't have time to sit in that feeling of I feel bored. This period is a very fertile time. It's a time for growth, reflection, and thriving. And remember, this period is not going to last forever, and trust me, it will feel like it's going to go on forever, but it's not. That's just the natural ebb and flow of life, where you're going to have your period when you're out in the world, you're doing your thing, and then you have those periods where God has you take a back seat and has you go inward and to focus on other things that are more so centered on discipline and structure and quiet time. Just trust in the ebbs and flow of life and just let this time be a time where you surrender and allow God to do the bigger work for you, because that is what God is doing. God is on the other side doing the bigger work and preparing things for you. So this isn't your time to worry about what's going on, when is things happening for me, all this anxiety and worry that you may have. Don't worry about it. It will happen for you. Whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest during this time, just focus on your intention, focus on getting clear, and focus on showing up and doing the work. This is you time, okay? This is time for you to get right within yourself, to get structured, okay? And to take care of yourself. This is a self-care time. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you're going through this right now or you recently went through this, let me know in the comments your experience. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and please check out my website, cosmiccode.net. I have a lot for you guys to explore because, like I said, I recently rebranded, so there's a lot to look at on the website, and my books are open right now, so feel free to reach out to me and work with me, especially during this time. It's eclipse season, so this is the perfect time to get a reading. And yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.